we go.
On the
All
road, over the
right.
bridge.
Over the bridge. That's right. Welcome to episode 36 of the Georgie and Patty Show. I am Georgie.
I am Patty. Hello.
Hello. It is Wednesday. I was going to Tuesday. Man, we are all over the place this week, but that's okay. We are here today. We are going to be talking about, Patty is going to be sharing all about bridges, the bridges of Marketing County, and how we can use those in the work that we do and why they are so effective. Thank you for letting us know that you can't stay because you have another appointment. So the recordings, just so you know, they are on our YouTube channel. They are on our Facebook page, 10K Program with Patty and Georgie Facebook page, and in the Cozy Comfy office as well. So they are everywhere. If for some reason you can't find it, send us a message and we'll happily share the link with you. So my quote of the day reminded me of our work, and it is, the wise man bridges the gap by laying the path by means of which he can get from where he is to where he wants to go. And that would be from J.P. Morgan. And I think that's exactly what we talk about with our bridge assessment method that we use. It really is helping our clients get from where they are to where they want to go, and helping them to really bridge the gap between how our services can help them to get what it is they really, really want. Because often there's a bit of a disconnect there. So how do we make that easy to see, and also really conversational and fun to talk about? So I thought this fit really well with where you're going today with our Bridges of Marketing County. T-shirts are on their way for sure. So with that, I will turn it over to you to get this party started.
All right. I'll just share my screen.
Excellent.
I am so excited. Oh, is that my whole screen or is that just my
That's
PowerPoint?
your whole screen.
Stupid Zoom. Let's try that again. All right, Zoom. This one. Damn it. It's doing it. Oh, no, it's doing it right. There we go.
There we go. We got it.
Thank you, Zoom. Good job, Zoom. Good job, Zoom. Zoom is such a good boy.
That's right. Zoom.
Zoom. All right, here we go. Okay, today we're talking about building bridges in your marketing. This is so important. So important, so important, so important. This is everything that I have ever taught in marketing. Everything that I have done to help people with their marketing. This is marketing. And for some businesses, especially those of us who do something that is in the transformational realm, coaching, consulting, training, helping people become better versions of themselves, helping businesses become better versions of the business. And if you happen to sell something that maybe people don't get right away, if you're introducing something new, the bridges are everything. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the bridges in your marketing. My intention with this presentation is so that you can see where the bridges are, what they are, if you have them or not, and some insight into what goes into a good bridge and why you need a bridge. And as I say all this, I'm like, I'm not sure I've heard people talk about bridges in marketing in that kind of terminology, but this is the thing. So permission slip first. This is an everlasting permission slip. You might want to print this out and kind of stick it over top of your desk. You do not have to do all of the things. We give this permission slip out so many times. When we get marketing advice, the advice comes fast and furious. There's a zillion things that you can do. And even today, in talking about bridges, I'm going to talk about a number of things that you can do. You do not have to do all of the things. You do not have to do all of the things. I'd say you have to do some of the things. but you don't have to do all of the things. So don't let this overwhelm you. Do not leave this call with a long to-do list of a bunch of stuff that you have to do. You don't have to do all of the things, but the awareness that you have about what this is and how and the options that you have can have you start thinking through what would be a good fit for you in terms of moving forward. So let's talk about the service business in the very simplified way. If you've been on the show for any length of time, you've probably seen this little diagram. But in this is, sometimes we make things a little bit more complex, a little more complicated than they need to be. The service business is you, the service provider. There is your client, the service partakee, the person who gets the benefit of your service. You provide a service to them, they pay you money. We call that money revenue. You sell enough of those services for enough money, you can make yourself a good living at this. That's a successful service business. It's not that complicated when you look at it in a picture like this. You provide services, they provide money, everybody's happy. Um, the trick, of course, comes where it's like, how do I make that happen? What does the marketing look like? And in an ideal world, this is what we want the marketing to look like. The client's like, hey, I need a service. You're like, I have a service. And they're like, here, take my money. This is how we want it to work. This is a nice, neat, kind of clean thing. And it's just like, okay, what do you have to do? You have to let people know that you have a service. And the clients who need the service will see you and they'll be like, yeah, I'll buy. Here's some money. And for some businesses, this is exactly how it works. It's really not that complicated, right? Bookkeeping, for example. People know what bookkeeping is. They need it and they're like, hey, I need a bookkeeper. And you happen to show up at the same networking event and you say, oh, what a coincidence, I am a bookkeeper. They're like, cool, take my money. um, it could be something like, gee, I need somebody to mow my lawn. You're like, we mow lawns. Excellent, have my money. Super simple. And even, it might be, um, wow, my grass is getting really long. My husband's frustrated. The lawnmower broke. And the other person, oh, wow, how about that? What a coincidence. We mow lawns. would you like us to help you out with that? They say, yeah, here, have my money. And the problem is when you sell a transformational business, this whole thing goes to hell. Um, there's not that many people out there going, oh, I need a coach. Um, there's not a whole lot of people going out there saying, oh, yeah, what I need is a mentor. I need to, I need this thing. Like they even if they have a desire, they're like, oh, I want to change my life. I want to do something different. I want to move to another career. I want to move up at work. Um, I want to I want to lose weight and get in shape. I want to overcome this chronic health condition that I have. It's like they might have this desire, but they don't see how the business that you have can help them. There is a disconnect and the communication doesn't happen. And this can be super frustrating for the person who provides the service, the transformational service provider, the coach, who is listening to the person describe a problem and thinking, I can help, I can help, I can help. But the messaging just doesn't kind of go through. So it might be something they want, it might be a problem that they're struggling with, but it's not as obvious. So you might be wondering, why is that, Patty? Why is it different? And so we turn to, speaking of old dead guys, Eugene Schwartz, 1966, which was a fantastic year, by the way. Uh, talked about the levels of awareness that your potential clients have. And he mapped out what those levels of awareness are. And this is super important. This is super important to all businesses, but in particular, if you sell if you sell a service that is transformational in nature or is new or hard to explain. So there's unaware. Unaware people know nothing. They know nothing about you. They know nothing about their problems. They're just completely unaware. There are problem aware people. They know they have a problem, but they don't know how to solve it. There are solution aware people. They know the result that they want, but they're not sure that your service will deliver it. There's product aware or service aware people. They know that they need your service, but they're not sure that you are right for them. And then the top level is the people who are most aware. They know you, they know what you do. They just need to know what the deal is. Like what is it that you're offering? What are the details? Okay. So you can see I've very nicely color coded this pyramid to be blue and cold on the bottom and red and hot on the top. So in essence, the closer up to the top of this uh, level of awareness that people are at, the more likely they are to buy from you, the easier the sale is. So when you think about the easiest sales of all are referrals and repeat business. And this is because, if you look at repeat business, it's like they know who you are, they know what you do, they know how you work, they have experience with all of that. There's the most highest level of awareness. They've, they just come back and they get you to mow their lawn every summer. They complete a coaching program with you, and then they sign up for the next level, or they sign up to work with you for a longer period of time. Somebody that they know raves about you and says, wow, they're amazing, you really need to go and see them. They might have this long conversation, and by the time that person calls you and said, hey, so and so gave me your name, they have a pretty high level of awareness, and these sales are often um, a lot easier to make. Okay, so there's that. Then the next level is product aware. And if you offer a known service or a known product, you're already here. This is why it's so much easier to sell things like bookkeeping and lawn mowing, um, even things like websites. People are product aware of websites. They're like, I need a website. And you're like, I do websites. I can tell you, in 1994, when I first started making websites, there was no product awareness in the market. That was something new. They had no idea what it was, no idea that they needed it, no idea what to do with it. Um, True story, the very first people I made a website for asked me how to fax it to people. Um, so known products and services have an advantage, which is why if you sell something that's unknown, something that's a little bit different, something that's transformational in nature, where there's not a lot of people who know about it, um, it's more challenging to do the marketing. And this is also why there's kind of this running joke about coaches hiring coaches. That's because coaches have product awareness. Coaches know what coaching is. They know it's valuable. They know how to use it. They know where it fits into their life. So um, they have that product awareness, and this is why it's kind of easier to sell coaching to coaches because they get it. So if you happen to be in this place where you offer an unknown service, something that's new, something that's different, if it's 1994 and you're selling websites, you're down in these lower levels of awareness, and you need to work harder to sell. It's just, that's just the truth of it. And it's helpful to know this, to know that this is what you're up against, and to know that when people say, oh, it's just a numbers game and all you have to do to sell your services is to cold call people, that works great for bookkeepers. You pick up the phone. It's like you go to the yellow pages and you start with A, and you call all the businesses. Do you need a bookkeeper? Do you need a bookkeeper? Do you need a bookkeeper? Eventually, you'll find someone who says, hey, yeah, I do. Doesn't work as well for coaching or 1994 for websites. You need a website? You need a website? What's a website? No, I don't need that. Um, so you're in that realm of unknown, new, different, and and this, if you're a coach coach or consultant or wellness practitioner, you'll know this pain that sometimes people think they know about your business, but they really don't. They have an idea of it based on something else, based on incomplete information, incorrect information. There are plenty of people who out there that think that life coaches tell you what to do, and this really upsets life coaches because they're like, I don't tell people what to do with their lives, but people think that that's what you do. So people have ideas about your service that might not be correct. So this is the challenge. You're down here in this they know nothing about it, or maybe they know that they have a problem. um, Maybe they know that they need a solution. Maybe they're not sure that coaching will do this. I mean, this is the other part of it. They might know that they have a problem. Wow, I procrastinate all the time. That's a problem. I really need to fix it. So they might know that, oh, you know what, I think I'd really like to get over my procrastination problem. I think I'd like to take action on a regular basis. um, but how do I get that? Well, I could take a course, I could read a book, I could try harder, I could search online, or I could hire a coach. Like, there's lots of options, but they're not really sure what's what. So this is the kind of the state of things. And I'm like, oh, but that's not all. It gets worse. And this is a special slide for those of you in the coaching, advising, transformational service category. It gets worse because you can't deliver the result that people want directly. Georgie and I help our clients get clients and make money. If we could have a conversation with someone and it's like, okay, here's how it works. You give us $10,000, and then we go and we get this great big box and we stuff it full of clients and cash for you. Let's say, what would you like? $25,000? Excellent. So we'll put $25,000 of clients and cash in the box and we'll ship it FedEx. Okay. Do you want that ground, or you want to pay a little extra to have it overnight? Um, we can't do that. We'd love to be able to do that, and it's the same. It's the same for our clients. It's if you're helping people achieve great physical fitness, to get into shape. It's like you can't just put that brand new body in a box and ship it to somebody. Um, it's not that simple. You want to improve your relationships or your communication skills. You can't send that in an envelope. So you can't even sell the result directly. That's a challenge. Uh, this kind of work requires some vulnerability from clients. They need to admit that things aren't working. They have to talk about what's gone wrong. That might bring up their hopes and their fears and the mistakes that they have made, and they may feel ashamed. And depending on um, uh, where you work with people and what you get into, this stuff can be pretty deep, and that can cause a hesitation. People are like, ooh, I don't know, you know. This kind of work can take time, and progress can be slow. That this is the reality of a lot of this work. Change takes time. True transformation takes time. uh, don't see results instantly. That can be kind of frustrating, and people know that. The people who want this kind of help, they know that they know that their journey is going to take some time. uh, the process itself can be hard work, in some cases painful. It's not often fun to do transformational kinds of work. Even in the work that Georgie and I do, which sounds, it's like, yeah, we help our clients figure out how to drum up some business, how to get some clients, and it's like that's going to require getting outside your comfort zone. It's going to require learning new things, taking on some fears. Everyone has a fear in a certain area, and it's going to come out. It's part of the issue. So they're like, oh, I'm going to pay money, then you're going to make me hurt. Oh, sounds like fun. um, and therefore the client needs to be ready. So people might have this, might circle around for a while, needing the help, and not quite ready to hit the go button on it. So this adds to the complexity in selling transformational services. And the answer to all of this is to build bridges. And bridges uh, bridges are made of words. This is the reality when we talk about bridges. It's about communication. It's about the words. It's about helping them see um, how you can help them get to where they want to go. And this is true. This is um, a reality for people who sell transformational services. You need some good bridges with some words. But even if even if you sell something simple like bookkeeping, you can still build little bridges about um, why you're better than somebody else, why you're the best choice, why you're the best fit, that kind of thing. You can do a little bit of this bridge work, but you don't have to do as much. But if you offer something that's a little bit different, a service maybe that people aren't familiar with, or a service that you offer that people aren't aware that you offer, you can build those bridges with words. And there's multiple ways to do this. Conversations involve words. You have an opportunity to talk to somebody one-on-one, giving away free consultations, having coffee with somebody, having a phone call with them, talking about what's going on or about what you offer, that kind of a thing, um, can be great for building bridges. Is because you've got the time and space. This is, maybe one of the biggest challenges for selling something that's a little bit complicated to understand is not enough time and space to fully explain and make the case, kind of thing. When you're in a one-on-one conversation with people, that can happen. So that's kind of an easy in some ways way to build a bridge. With the words on your website copy, uh, if you're selling something that's easy to understand, if it's like, hey, we sell widgets come in 4 different colors and 3 different sizes, order here, you can get away with a small amount of copy on your website, a small number of words. When you sell something like coaching, like transformational kind of services, you need some more words on your website to explain what that's about and how it works. So your website can do a great job of building a bridge, especially in terms of who you are and what makes you different from other people and how it works, that kind of thing. So website copy can do a lot for building a bridge. And when I say words, it doesn't have to necessarily be text copy. It can be video copy. It's about that explanation, adding those words. You can write a book. You can write an ebook. Uh, this is why it's really popular in those kind of expert transformational kind of businesses to say, hey, the book is the new business card or something like that, because in a book you've got lots of time and space to explain things fully. Presentations, workshops, webinars, having an hour in front of a group explaining how what you do can help them. And this is the important part. And sometimes people get a little caught up in the words. What they want to do, like they often come to me, it's like, how do I make myself stand out from the other people who do it? How do I explain how I do my services? And really what you're wanting to explain is what you can do for your clients. That's the idea of building the bridge. It's that connection between what you do and what they are looking for. You can do this in articles, you can do this in videos. When we talk about content marketing can be super powerful for coaches and transformational people, service providers, experts, is to share your expertise in that way. This stuff all builds bridges too, mainly because it's made of words. So the here's the big link in the whole chain here, is that an effective bridge makes the connection between what they want and what you offer. That is the purpose of a bridge. It's why I'm referring to it as a bridge. They're on one side, you're on the other, and you create this bridge of words to meet them kind of in the middle. So when it comes to creating bridges, the most effective way to create a bridge, the most effective way is through an assessment. This is why Georgie and I are all over this idea of creating bridge assessments. We call it a bridge assessment because not because we're checking the foundational structure of the bridge, but because we are using an assessment to create that bridge between what it is they're looking for and what they want. So when you do a bridge assessment, you are you're meeting in the middle. It's like, here's what you want, here's what I offer, and the assessment happens in the middle. And because it's in the assessment and you're asking them questions, and in the assessments we use, we get people to color code them, red, yellow, green, or create a visual. It's engaging and collaborative. When you're doing an assessment and you're finding out where people are at and where they want to go, and whether or not they have all of the pieces that they need in order to get there, they're engaged in doing that assessment with you. You're both collaborating. So it's a very structured way of having that conversation, because you're talking um, about where they're wanting to go. So they're interested, they're learning about themselves by doing the assessment with you. So engaging and collaborative, it's immediately valuable. They get clarity from it. Um, if you just think about it, it's like if you want something and you don't know how to get it, it can be incredibly clarifying to have somebody, outline a map. Here are the things you need. You need 12 different things in order to get from here to there. Let's see how you're doing on each one of these things. Do you have it or not? Are you working on it? Is it something that you don't have? Then you can go through there and you can go, wow, look at that. There's 12 things. 3 of them I've got already. 3 of them I didn't even know I needed. The other ones I'm kind of a work in progress. It's like, wow, I have so much clarity. I know what I need to do. I need to fix these red ones. I need to shore up these yellow ones. Yay. Immediately valuable to the person doing the assessment. It's like you've helped them already. You've demonstrated that you're helping in this conversation. It demonstrates your expertise. You're you're providing expertise, you're educating as you go along. Each one of your bridge assessment items, you're explaining why they need it and what it does and how it's going to help them. You get to really dive in there. And in the process of creating your assessment, you get to develop your expertise. You get to kind of tease apart what all the stuff is that you do and why it's so awesome. It provides a sample experience with you. They're with you in the room. They get a sense of what you're like to work with. You get a sense of what it's like to work with them. So they have a much clearer sense of what they're getting from you. It's kind of like giving away a free session, which is very common for coaching, is to give away a free session. It's kind of like that, but because of the nature of the assessment, um, it's you're being helpful, but in a very specific way. Build to know, like, and trust. It takes some time. It's one-to-one with people. Build some know, like, and trust in that process, and it creates a path to working with you. At the end of the assessment, they have clarity both about what they need and about what you do, because when you look at the assessment, you're like, okay, you see those red things? That's what I help people do. I help them turn those red lights to green lights. It makes what you do um, a lot more obvious. And the whole um, the whole assessment, the whole doing it in this way creates confidence in your sales process and how you explain what you do. It's respectful. So you can feel good about doing it, good about showing up, because it's very respectful. It's not salesy, it's not pushy. Um, so yeah, it's non-salesy. So you don't feel going into this meeting like you're a salesperson. And it's super powerful. Like, it works really, really well. And it's easy to invite people to. This is the other thing, fun thing about it, is that because it's valuable and because you'll get feedback from your clients and be like, wow, that is amazing. It's easy to invite people to. And it's easy for people to recommend other people to come and do this with you, because you're like, it's so clarifying. And in the words of one of our clients, she's like, I feel so professional when I do this, because um, you're coming to the meeting with a very clear agenda. You've got the assessment all laid out. It's all very expert. You walk people through it one point at a time. You collaborate with them. You engage with them, and it you feel like a professional doing it. It's a little bit like when you go to a doctor or a dentist, and they do an assessment, like they check you out to see what's going on, what do you need, um, and as the client, as the patient, you feel looked after. It's like, oh, okay, they're helping figure out what's wrong. Then you have more trust in the treatment. It's like, oh, they say, okay, here's what's going on, here's what you need, and it can put you in that in that kind of a relationship with a client. So that is that in a nutshell kind of look at bridges, and in particular the assessment. This is a place for us to put in our wee little commercial announcement here that we are doing a workshop all about this bridge assessment method. Bam! On May 29th. So if you're interested in the workshop, you can learn more at 10kprogram.com/workshop. And right here, right now, take your questions. Questions,
I'm like,
comments.
hey, where'd your face go? Hang on a second.
Did I disappear?
What? No, I know it's just my
I'm here.
screen that I had it small. Like, what? Oh my God. No, you're back. Super good and super useful. And I think often, one of the reasons we love the assessment so much is when you're actually having these conversations with people through doing an assessment, you learn so much about your future clients. This is what helps you find those words for your website, for the articles. What kind of articles should I write that people would be interested in? The ebooks, all of those kinds of things. You get so much information when you kind of do these assessments with people, because you're spending time with people. You're really there to get to know someone and find out, oh, what is really their problem in their world? Can I actually help them? This is such a great space for really being able to understand people, which I think as coaches, consultants, trainers, all those kinds of things, that's really what we're looking for. We're here because we want to make a difference with the work that we do. And this method of doing this kind of assessment really helps you do that in a way that you often don't do if you were just going in with your typical sales call or discovery process or something like that. I think that's one of my favorite parts about it, is that you really get to make that connection with people.
Yeah, and it's really a way of adding kind of a rigorous structure to the discovery part of a call. It's not just kind of like, and it's helpful to have a discovery call with people just to find out, it's like, what's going on, where does it hurt, kind of thing is kind of the intention. It's like, okay, where does it hurt, what's going on, where do you need some assistance, that kind of thing. All about listening, right? Having an assessment puts a structure to that, specific questions that you would be asking. And it's like you say too, having those conversations with people gives you the words that you put on your website. That's why we like to start people off with assessments. Like, don't worry about the website content or content marketing or doing videos or webinars or anything else. Do some assessments first. Gather the information. Then you know what people want, because you're asking them the questions, they're telling you, and then you know what they want. And it might not be what you think they want. A lot of times, what they want is easier. You're almost like, really? That's all you want? It's like, you're just looking for that? It's sometimes we've progressed so far in our own work that we forget what the very first steps are. And a lot of times that's what clients show up to in these meetings. They have some pretty simple needs, some pretty simple things that they need help with, and they'll give you that the specific language around that you can use in your other pieces of marketing.
We have a Facebook question.
Yes.
So Facebooker wants to know, how long does it normally take to do the bridge assessment with someone, and does it work in a group?
Okay. The first answer is it depends, and the second answer is it depends.
So clear. So clear.
So clear. So clear. Let me just okay, how long does it take when you do it in person? Like when you do it in person? Like we'll start off by doing it in person, because this is the thing. When you do the assessment in person the first few times, you get to gauge what the person is saying. So you're one-on-one, you get to try out your assessment, you get to gather some information. We like to suggest a significant amount of time, 45 minutes. Some of our clients go like an hour and a half for their assessment. It depends on the kind of work you do, the number of questions in your assessment. We usually go 8 to 12 is a good number of questions to have in an assessment. Depends on how deep you go, depends on how much education you need to do during it. But we're big fans of leaving a fair amount of time and space because of know, like, and trust. The more time you spend with people, the more you get to know them, the more they get to know you, the more comfortable they feel with you. And this is part of it. Like when we talk about vulnerability and we talk about the work being hard and painful, you need that relationship that you need to feel that you can know, like, and trust this person before you're going to get into that kind of a relationship. So we suggest longer periods of time for the assessment. And here's the thing, it'll go faster if you happen, if you're working with a strong referral, somebody has already talked you up, talked about their experience and say, oh, you got to go see this person, right? You might be able to go through that really quickly because there's already a level of understanding. In fact, in some cases, the assessment isn't even necessarily necessary because of how the person came to you, right? So it's going to depend. But if it's somebody that you have never met before, more time and space, good idea. So it is time consuming to do it one-to-one, which is why the second question, can you do it in a group? This is the thing that's beautiful about this, is when you have an assessment that works, and it can take some experimentation back and forth with the assessment. When you have an assessment that works and you're very clear about what those questions are and what you're asking and what the answers look like, and you can go through it with people really smoothly. Don't get too tripped up. They don't have a lot of questions about the individual assessment items. It scales up beautifully to do in a group situation or to do it in a webinar. It's, you run people through the assessment interactively. Georgie and I have been doing this since we launched this business a year and a half ago. And the core part of our workshop is an assessment. It's an assessment, provides kind of the lay of the land. It's the map of everything people need to do. And we run through the assessment interactively in a workshop. And it's lovely that way. It's a great webinar. It's a great workshop. So yes, you can do it to a group once you've got it solid one-to-one. That's part of the reason I'm just so excited about it. It's like we started doing it in a group, and then we're like, oh, we should do this one-to-one. It's even better.
Well, I think the information you get, and the important thing to remember is when we're talking about assessment, this isn't something like a personality assessment. Because often people think of an assessment where, okay, you plug in the answers and I'm going to spit out this little report for you. But the important thing to remember here is this really is about building the bridge. It's really getting to know the person, figure out where they're at, and then this is to show, you know, the work that you do and how your work solves those problems. So often I think people get a little bit confused where they think, oh, I have an assessment. I do these assessments. It's like a personality thing. It's not like that. It really is a method to build a bridge get to understand people and have that become really clear that this is the work you do. It's customized to really highlight the work that you do, which is why it could take a little bit, for those of you who aren't in the marketing space, sometimes figuring out, oh, is this a solution? Is this a symptom? Is this a service I offer? These are all components that go into a really great assessment and knowing where they fit. So sometimes it's a little bit challenging when you are trying to figure those things out on your own if you don't have that sort of marketing brain like me. I go there sometimes. I go there more now. And, you know, it requires a little more effort on my part to sit there and think about it.
Yeah. If you want to put this into the framework of like this hero's journey kind of approach to marketing, where your potential client is the hero of the story. You know, they're on a quest, they're on a mission to get what they want. You are the guide that has the plan. The assessment forms your plan. It's kind of like, at the same time, you're kind of showing the hero where their journey needs to go. It's like you're providing the expertise. It's like, here's where you need to go. You're here. There's 12 steps for you to get between here and where you want to go. And, you know, you're laying out your plan for them during the assessment, and you're assessing them based on, you know, like how far have they traveled down that plan? Like, did they have any of the steps in place, or do they need to fill them in? So it fits into that kind of a framework as well.
Mm-hmm. It's really, it's such a useful thing, especially if you are somewhat new to building your business and you're wondering, how do I structure these so-called sales calls and sales conversations? It provides such a beautiful framework for that, where you can almost forget that that's what you're doing. But it provides, at the end of it, even though the assessment itself is super, super valuable, it also provides the opportunity naturally and very conversationally to move into the work that you do, and, you know, being actually able to make an offer. So it does a lot of things in a way that makes this process easy. And I think it eliminates a lot of the stumbling blocks we see for people, especially when they're just getting started. And like, hey, sales conversation can almost paralyze people, right? You want me to do what? I know. And that's exactly what I want you to do. And we've created a way to make that easier for you. Yeah, I think it also helps you to remember that people are humans. It's such a human to human, heart to heart way to have these conversations and see, you know, how you can help people.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost want to come up with a different name than assessment. Like, it is an assessment. Like that's kind of what it is, but at the same time, that sounds kind of like a test or an
Yeah.
exam or something like that maybe isn't as awesome as it is.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. Okay, I'm gonna read our questions and things in the chat. So if you have questions or comments or anything you want to say or ask, please do. Thank you for the bridge assessment. It's going to help me in my sales. Oh, there's zero doubt about that. It absolutely, absolutely will. That's for sure. We're so quiet today. That's okay. That gives us more time to talk. So you know how we love to talk.
I'm like, oh, clear as
Well,
mud, overwhelmed.
no. Oh, sorry. There's another question. Sorry, I forgot about the Q&A box. Hang on a second. Let me go
Lots
over
of it
here.
too.
Woo-hoo. Look at me in technology. Okay, going over to the Q&A box. Could you also say the assessment helps the client and then yourself as well gain more focus and clarity on what it is they want or need? Often, usually, I find clients, whether corporate or individual, come thinking they know what the problem is they want help to solve. But after we talk, it is clear to me the problem is actually a symptom of something else.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
This is the beautiful thing about doing this kind of assessment is you basing the assessment on your work. So if you look at yourself as being the guide with the plan, the assessment is about how they're doing against your plan. So you get to assess the areas that you assess. And that's the part that's eye-opening for the client. It's super clarifying because, you know, you as an expert, and this is the thing about being an expert, it's like we walk into a situation, we know what's wrong. Like, I talk to somebody about their marketing, I take a look at what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, I know what's wrong. But they don't know what's wrong. And they come in with ideas about what is wrong. And I'm like, nope, not that. Nope, not that either. Nope, not that other thing. It's like, you know, with the people that I work with, and when I look at their marketing, it's like, okay, the strategy is off or the words are off. It's always that. Like, it's always that. Marketing problems are always that. It's like, get the right words in front of the right people at the right time. Like, that's marketing. And nobody wants to look at words. Like, nobody wants to look at words. Everybody's like, oh, I need some more whiz bang on my website, or I need to do Facebook ads. I need a funnel. And it's like, no, you need to explain what you're doing in a way that people get. So then if you do, like for me, if I go in and do an assessment, it's going to be focused on the words and the language and how um, and the response that they're getting, like, is basically, is it working or is it not? Is it working? Is it not? What's working? And we get to, like, the thing about the assessment is you as the expert get to set the terms of the assessment. You don't assess stuff that you don't do. You assess the stuff that you do. And this is, it helps you decide whether or not there's a fit, because this is the other beautiful thing. Somebody goes into your assessment and they're green lights all the way down, like they're good, they have everything that you offer. You're in a position where you can't really be of help to the person. Either they don't have enough self-awareness to be willing to admit that there's a problem, or they have a problem that exists outside of your domain. So they need to talk to somebody else. So your assessment should kind of cover the space of the work that you do with people in the way that you do it, focused on the things that you help with. And this is what's so awesome about this, is we can help coaches set up assessments, and we could work with 20 different life coaches. They would have 20 different assessments because they all have areas where they focus. They have a different point of view about how transformation works and the areas that they want to focus on. And the assessments become almost as unique as fingerprints. And this is part of what sets you apart from what other people as well. Because in the process of putting together your assessment and delivering the assessment, you really get a clear foundation of your own work. Because what did our client say the other day? Like, oh wow, this has just mapped out my book.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's like it helps you clarify your thoughts and about how you do things. A good assessment will map out your coaching program or your consulting services, give you an idea of how long things take, when you do what, help you develop the outline for a book or a presentation, your TED Talk. Um, it really pulls out the work that you do, um, and provides that clarity to the client. Because when you're on the assessment, they are self-assessing, and this is an important part of the assessment. They're
Exactly.
self-assessing. So it's not that you're telling them that they're wrong. You're giving them some criteria for them to think about. And they're like, oh, yeah, I think I have a problem there. I think I would call that one red. You're not saying they're doing it wrong. They're saying, I see, I have a problem there. So there's a faster meeting of the minds in it. And you have to do a little less work on the convincing piece. Plus, as you're going through it, you get to educate them as to why these things happen. Um, it's kind of magical.
It is really magical. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking that in my own head, is that it is really about, it's a self-assessment for them. So often you'll find that the people that you're talking to, they kind of get a shift in perspective, because it's like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. Oh, I'm kind of weak over there. Oh, I wonder what else I'm missing too, right? What else could it be that's stopping me from getting what I want? Because I came in here kind of thinking I knew I need this, and this. I need a diet and a food plan or whatever, give me my workout, give me my food plan, and I'm done. What? There might be some underlying things in here, some beliefs that might be stopping me. So people often, I think when we come to our own conclusions, and like our potential clients, they create their own shifts, their own kind of what? Oh, it's so much easier to offer a solution for them. And then you're not convincing. They've actually seen it for themselves. And that's really what we want, because I think that also increases their willingness to show up, to do the work, because it's their idea. They've come to that conclusion. It wasn't something you kind of forced down their throat, which is really, really helpful. I have another question. Where do we get the words to get the invitation out? Me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The great thing about these, though, is that they are so conversational, and so when you build your assessment, which is built on your work, and you're excited about it, and you're not offering like a sales call, right? You're offering something valuable to people. Are you feeling stuck? Would you like some help figuring out where you're stuck and how to get unstuck? It can like literally, hey, I have a free thing that might help you. Would love to go over it with you.
I'm
You
just
know,
gonna.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was interrupting you.
No, that's okay. That's why we're on Zoom, because we can talk for real.
This here, this here, this slide. How do you get the words for the invitation? You focus on what they want or the problem that they're having. This is the and what happened. Here's the thing with the bridge. I'm glad this came up because I forgot to mention this. Here's the thing with the bridge. When you have the bridge set up, like the bridge assessment in particular, you're inviting them to the bridge. You're not inviting them to coach. That's the difference. Is you invite them
Exactly.
to the bridge. That's where the invitation comes in. Come to the bridge. Come and get the assessment. It's not find out about coaching. It's not hop on a sales call with me. It's like, so the invitation is, oh, you want this thing in life? You're wondering if this is all that there is. You want something different. You don't know what the hell it is. Is that what you're struggling with? Not happy in your work, not happy in your career? Want something different? Come to the assessment, help you get that. Like, help you figure out what you need to do in order to have that. Figure out what those obstacles are and how to overcome them. You're having a problem? Can't seem to lose that last 50 pounds or whatever. It's like, let's do an assessment. Let's see what's happening um, with your diet and exercise plan. Like, let's see what you're doing, and let's do an assessment to see where the real problem is. It might not be where you think it is. Those are the kinds of invitations that you put out for the assessment. It's all based on what they want, and the invitation is to do the assessment so that you can get more clarity, so that you can find out what you need to do to solve this. Like, an assessment can form the basis of a plan too. Like, when we talk
Mm-hmm.
about plans and assessments, you do the assessment, and from the assessment you can create a plan. It's like, there's 12 things on the assessment. You need work in 8. There's your plan. Do 8 things. um, it just provides the clarity. So that's what you're offering, is clarity to help them get what it is that they want. Um, and
And
then selling your
that's
service and talking about what you do goes right off the table. You don't even have to worry about that. It's all
exactly.
about the assessment. You just shift it over onto, you know, there's you, there's a person, and this is a bridge. You invite them to the bridge. One step onto the bridge. That's all.
And that's the beautiful part of it, is that assessment, that bridge is valuable. Even if they choose not to work with you, they're going to walk away with, oh, I see why I'm not getting what I want. I see where the obstacles are. And I think that's the other beautiful part about it, is that you are providing a valuable service just with the assessment. Like, the assessment itself is so incredibly valuable, which also I think makes it easier to issue invitations, because we've
Absolutely.
taken, that kind of icky piece right off the table.
Yeah.
So good. Not that I'm biased, but I am.
We're totally biased.
We're totally biased. We are fully bought into this.
Yeah.
Um,
It works. That's
and
the
I think
exciting thing.
that's the exciting part, is we see our clients using these and they work, so that's really the point, is we want to help you get your work into the world to make a difference. And we have a comment here. When I completed Patty and Georgie's assessment, I was shocked. After all the years in business, how many red areas there were. I've made progress in some of these areas. Some of them I've been avoiding. I know I have to get to them now, though, especially now in the world of COVID, where we have had some serious catching up to do with income. Yeah, it just gives you that plan, that space to look at, here's where some of my issues might be. Yeah, I really like the idea of inviting clients to the bridge. It takes almost all the pressure off the sales call. It really, really does, and I think as coaches and consultants, it's easy to offer something of value. Hey, I have this cool thing that can help you. And because you're not thinking really in that moment, I'm going to sell you something. It's like, I know if you go through this assessment, you're going to find out some things that may be preventing you from getting what you want. So you can go and do that on your own if you want, no problem. And if you want some help with that, I'm happy to help you with it. Yeah, 100% of the pressure gone. Totally. It's just a conversation, right? You've kind of shifted this to the thing that you do best, which is helping people.
Yeah.
I'm helping people. That's what I do. it can come up so conversationally with people too. Oh, hey, you've got that problem? I have this thing. You might want to try it. Happy to set up a call. We'll give you some insights.
Yeah.
Like
And
we love it.
we love it. And, and we specialize in this area of transformational kind of work. But I'll tell you, if you're a freelancer, if you're selling something like a website or graphic design or copywriting or something like that, and you're in this problem of people don't understand the value of what I do and the amount of time that goes into it, an assessment can really help, right? It's like, let's do an assessment to figure out exactly what it is that you need in a website, what you want your website to do, where your current website is at, what the new one needs. Like, and you can walk people through an assessment about, where are you at in this website process, and this is what it takes to build a good website. It's like you're taking them through your plan, so it can justify higher rates. Like when people say, oh, well, it's just a logo, it's just it's just a little picture in a circle, it's like, what do you charge for that? Like $10. You can talk about, no, this is what needs to go into that, this is the thought process, this is what we're doing here. Do you have these things in place, right? Do you know what do you know about your brand and your colors and the feelings and all the other stuff that goes into it? You could put all of that stuff into an assessment, or any kind of a new service that you're offering that people don't understand. The assessment is kind of like, okay, what would that person need to know or be aware of in order to see the value of this service? It's creating that bridge, and it's helpful. It's helpful for them.
Exactly. Just like in the chat, someone says the assessment helps us offer the client what they really need. Exactly. And what they want. Like it's really awesome.
Yeah.
So we are running out of time.
That's it.
Running out of time.
The introduction, the invitation is how to get what you want. The assessment pulls out what they need. Like it bridges that. It's like, you want that, this is what you need. You need these things. This is how you get them.
In an easy conversational way.
Yeah.
So cool. So cool. 2 minutes, which means you have 30 seconds to ask a question.
I get lots of questions. You want to know more about this, then we're doing like a 6-hour workshop.
Yeah, you get all your questions answered there. Yeah. That's for sure. And then so for tomorrow, we have our inspiring human, Mike Vicanti, which those of you who were here yesterday saw him pop by for a couple seconds during our show yesterday. So he's a really awesome, amazing guy. And I know I say this like every week we do an interview, but it's just true. He is the author of a book called Believership, which his take on leadership is really, really cool. And he looks at, it's not leadership we need, it's believership. And so what is the difference between leadership and leaders who lead, like with the traditional leadership model, and this new thing called, his word, I guess, believership. He's also the founder of a movement that's growing like crazy called Humans First, which is what how I first found him was through Humans First, which is a global movement that's happening right now of, how do we put people first? How do we bring the humanity back into corporations and the work that we do, and just how we actually show up in the world? Really, really amazing. So very excited to have the conversation with him tomorrow. His background is, he was in high-level sports, corporate work, having his own business. He's got like 5 kids or something. So, done the whole family thing too. Lots of different experiences in different areas. And the thing I'm really impressed with Mike is how he's been able to really stay true to his beliefs and actually leave really high-paying, great positions because it didn't line up with his beliefs. So how do we make those decisions, which we talk about so much, about staying true to who we are and showing up as who we are, even when it gets challenging? So I'm really excited for that conversation. I just see one more question on Facebook that I'm going to pop over because we like to answer questions. How much is the workshop and when is it? The workshop is the very high price of $27 and it is May 29th from 11 to 5 on Zoom.
Yeah,
Of
Pacific time.
course, Pacific time. So yeah, so that's it. Another day, another show,
Woohoo!
another idea. And that's that. I'll let you end it with our famous line.
We will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye. Double waves. Woo!